Our neighbor consistently left his window open, giving us a glimpse into his world. My sister and I consistently observed the same phenomenon. Every woman who stopped by our neighbor departed with a look of utter bewilderment. Questions arose. We took the opportunity to introduce ourselves. The moment he swung the door open, it was clear he was anything but surprised to find us there. Before we dive in, if you're a familiar face and appreciate these tales, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support for the channel means the world to me, and it's incredibly easy to do. Thank you. We appreciate your presence. Let's get started. As the hour grew late and I prepared to ascend the stairs, a flicker of movement outside the front window drew my attention. Just across the street, the glow of his bedroom light sprang to life, revealing that he had company. I halted in my tracks, one hand resting on the banister. A woman lingered by the window. She adjusted her dress. Her movements fluid and intentional. Suggested rewrite. She moved gracefully, a practiced confidence in her every motion. A routine perfected through countless moments. She leaned into him, her hands resting on his chest, while he remained calm and still, as if he possessed all the time in the world. "Dear Claire," I dialed, my voice a hushed whisper yet filled with urgency. "This is a must-see." She strolled in, a cozy blanket draped around her, hair tousled from the couch's embrace. "Excuse me?" I gestured without looking back. "He's back in action." With a deep breath, she let out a sigh. "Ava, let's go. Seriously, take a look." She approached me, a hint of uncertainty in her demeanor. As she cast her gaze out the window, her eyes grew wide with surprise. We had a clear view of everything through the glass. With her back pressed firmly against the wall, he rested a hand against the wall near her, his presence undeniable in the air. He leaned closer, murmuring softly. She chuckled softly, then fell silent as he leaned in slightly, their closeness charged with unspoken tension. Claire stifled a gasp. "This isn't something we should be watching." And yet, I remarked with a grin. We remained there, frozen in place, huddled by the window like curious teenagers, peering into a world we weren't meant to witness. He moved with a deliberate slowness, as if this was a routine he had mastered, as if her reactions held no surprises for him any longer. She held onto him tightly, her head tilting back, her legs trembling even before she made a move. As he spun her around, she steadied herself, caught in the intensity of the moment. Claire made a subtle movement. "Is that the same girl we saw last week?" "No," I said. "That's something fresh." "Could it be the 5th or possibly the 6th this month?" Claire shook her head, yet her gaze remained fixed on the window. "That's unbelievable." "I'm telling you," I murmured. They arrive with confidence, laughter, and flirtation, only to depart as if they've experienced an unforgettable journey. We observed her tense up once more. Her mouth fell agape, jaw relaxed, eyes blinking in disbelief. He hardly shifted, yet whatever he was engaged in had her gripping on as if every fiber of her being was responding to it. Claire averted her gaze, visibly flustered. "All right, that's sufficient." I remained still. "There's no way you're not at least a bit intrigued." She settled onto the armrest, gripping her blanket more tightly. "He certainly has an impressive quality about him." "Sort of," I replied. "He's an enigma on two legs, in his mid-50s, speaking little yet commanding attention. With no need for boasting, he effortlessly captivates every woman in the neighborhood, leaving them as if they've just emerged from a fantasy." Claire nibbled on her lip. I beamed with joy. "I'm curious about what that's like," she chuckled, a hint of nervousness in her voice. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I absolutely mean it." "Not tonight," I replied, "but definitely tomorrow. I could swing by, greet them, and introduce myself." "What are you planning to do?" "Give his door a gentle knock and request a sample." With a grin, I suggested, "Perhaps I'll just borrow some sugar. Alternatively, inquire if he requires assistance with any heavy items. Whatever gets the job done." Claire stood, the blanket held firmly in her grasp. "You must be joking." "I understand," I mentioned. "Let's be honest, you're curious as well." She remained silent. I tightened the blanket around me and turned my gaze elsewhere. The following morning, one thought lingered in my mind. That individual. I felt no remorse in indulging in the spectacle before me. My curiosity was at an all-time high. What was it about him that left every woman utterly captivated? Claire, however, seemed to carry on as if last night hadn't etched itself into her memory as well. She lounged in her pajamas, nestled on the couch with a bowl of cereal as if the world around her had simply paused. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, taking it all in. I mentioned it in a laid-back manner. "I'm considering that this is the perfect moment." She kept her gaze down. "What exactly is a good time for? Have you ever thought about this?" With a deep sigh, she prepared herself. Are you being serious? Absolutely. Ava, she sighed in frustration. It's not appropriate to approach someone at their home simply because you were intrigued by what you glimpsed through their window. To start, I declared, as I reached for my keys. It's more than just what I witnessed. It's what I've observed. Over and over. Always. Last night was the final confirmation. Claire wrapped the blanket snugly around herself, cocooning in its warmth. I won't be attending. There's no need for you to take any action, I mentioned. Simply join me. Support me. How about we act as if I'm borrowing something? She glanced outside. What's the reason you want me to be there? As I mentioned, I walked over. You'll prevent me from taking any overly daring actions. Or you'll push me into making a foolish decision. Perhaps, I replied with a smile. Regardless of the outcome, it's bound to be an enjoyable experience. She rolled her eyes, yet it was clear she was giving in. As she stood there with her arms crossed tightly, I casually tossed her a hoodie. Moments later, we found ourselves crossing the street. My heart raced. Not out of nerves, but rather from a sense of eager anticipation. Claire followed closely behind me the entire journey. I rapped lightly on the door. The door swung open with a soft creak, almost as if it had been waiting for this moment. He stood there, barefoot, with his shirt half-buttoned and hair still glistening from a recent shower. And the way he gazed at us? It was as if he had an innate understanding of our identities. I've been curious about when we would finally cross paths. He gazed at us as if he was already aware of our purpose for being there. I noticed every shift of his gaze. Only once, from me to Claire, and then returned, serene and composed, as if he had been anticipating this moment. Hey, I said, maintaining a cheerful tone. I apologize for the unexpected appearance. We were out for a stroll and thought, why not stop by and say hello? Claire lingered just behind me, her arms crossed and hoodie drawn snugly as if she wished to vanish into thin air. He gave a single nod. It's great to see you here. Ava and Claire are here and I've added them. On the opposite side of the street. I understand. That was everything he expressed. That's all there is. Yet, there was an unmistakable clarity in his words. He wasn't convinced by our explanation. There was no necessity for him to do so. He moved to the side. We stepped inside. The home exuded warmth and tranquility, bathed in gentle light and the subtle aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Soft melodies drifted through the air, creating an inviting atmosphere. Gradual, gentle, as if it had been running for an eternity. 2 glasses sit on the counter, one brimming with liquid. I arched an eyebrow. Are you waiting for someone special? He replied, not really. I just realized I could have some company. I cast a glance at Claire. She feigned ignorance. He passed me the glass. I seized the opportunity without a second thought. Claire lingered by the door, uncertainty etched on her face, her silence palpable. You're different from what I imagined, I remarked, taking a delicate sip. I smirked, neither are you. What came to your mind? His tone remained unchanged. Those who observe so intently often steer clear of eye contact the following day. Claire recoiled. I did not. You witnessed us. It's a window, he remarked, not just a one-way mirror. I chuckled, softly yet incisively. He casually settled onto the edge of the couch, his arms draped over his knees. Claire remained perfectly still. You can go anytime, he said softly, glancing in her direction. Take it easy. She remained silent. She remained in place, her gaze darting back and forth between us. I reclined against the back of the couch, my gaze fixed on him. You'll encounter a multitude of insincere justifications at your doorstep. He gazed up at me with a confident smile, radiating calm assurance. I keep the window open intentionally. I stood my ground. I moved in closer. I leaned in, closing the space between us, curiosity flickering in my mind, my fingers gently resting on his shoulder. He remained still. He let his hand rest on my thigh as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Claire's voice pierced the silence. Are you really going through with this? I glanced at her, lingering by the door. It seems like you feel I forced you to come here. You somewhat did. So go ahead, I said plainly. Or remain and acknowledge that your presence isn't solely for my sake. She gave a slight shake of her head. He's an unfamiliar face, Ava. Digit. He's the guy who's had every woman in this neighborhood exiting his place as if time slipped away, including the one we saw last night. He arched an eyebrow ever so slightly. I strive to leave a lasting impression on them. Claire recoiled at that, yet her gaze remained fixed on his. I rose gradually, approached her, and gently grasped her hand. She stood still, caught in the moment. Her pulse raced beneath my fingertips. You don't need to do anything, I said softly. However, it's important to be honest with yourself as well. With careful precision, I led her onward, one deliberate step at a time, directly into his line of sight. He gazed at her, composed, unwavering, enigmatic. He leaned in closer and pressed his lips against hers. Claire exhaled unsteadily as his lips met hers. Yet, in an instant, she withdrew. Her cheeks turned a vibrant shade of red. I acted without a moment's pause. I entered, gliding by her, and kissed him with unwavering purpose. Clear and decisive, I clearly communicated my desires. His posture was confident, his presence commanding without effort. As I reclined, silence enveloped us both. I grasped the edge of my dress. He reflected my actions perfectly. We slipped out of them as if it were a familiar dance, one we had perfected long ago. As I inched closer, my hands remained gently placed on him. His breath changed. I observed intently, noting each shift in his physique, the way his shoulders clenched, and the subtle tightening of his grip on the cushion. I craved to experience all the emotions he was concealing. Something shifted behind me. He glanced beyond me and extended his hand. Claire lingered, clutching her dress like a protective barrier, caught in the tension between advancing and retreating. Without uttering a single word, he simply nodded in acknowledgement. Claire approached us deliberately and carefully, yet she did not pull away. Their gazes locked, an unspoken understanding passing between them. She remained close. His hand glided behind her neck, anchoring her as his other hand gently coaxed the dress from her shoulders. It fell silently, and her breath trailed behind it. I pressed on, allowing the rhythm to lead the way. Claire stepped onto the floor beside me, her uncertainty still evident, until his fingers brushed against her cheek, leading her with a soothing assurance. Our hands touched for a fleeting moment, united in a shared goal. She moved with a deliberate slowness, each step cautious yet infused with a burgeoning confidence. As his head tilted back just a bit, it became clear that we were moving forward. He began to speak, his voice calm and unwavering. We stood together, both of us united. He sank deeper into the couch, arms sprawled out comfortably. I positioned myself on the cushions, carefully straddling him, and adjusted until I found the perfect spot. The instant his lips brushed against my skin, my hold intensified. Every action seemed deliberate, as if he knew exactly what to do. That seemed to flow effortlessly. I leaned my head back, inhaling deeply. Claire descended once more, and I stole a glance downward as she continued from where I had paused. Her hands discovered their flow, gaining confidence as I led her softly. We united with a common goal. His focus remained unwavering. Each movement layered upon the previous one, creating ripples through my legs, constricting every part of me. Though my balance faltered, I was determined not to let him halt his progress. Not when he was so close to unraveling everything I am. Claire took a sharp breath. He reached out to her, gently urging her to rise. She rose gracefully, allowing him to lead her into his embrace. His hands anchored her gently at the waist. I took a step back, my fingers gliding along her spine as she positioned herself above him. With her eyes shut, she surrendered to the pull of gravity. She moved gradually, fine-tuning her movements with every shift. His hands cradled her, one gently at her back, the other firmly at her hips. She held her breath as never leaving his. She leaned in, her hands firmly gripping his shoulders for support as her movements intensified. In that moment, her body became rigid. Her head rested against him, her back curving subtly to reveal all we needed to understand. She remained silent. There was no necessity for her to do so. He embraced her for just a moment longer, then rose with her in his arms, gently placing her down onto the cushions with utmost care. He then shifted his gaze towards me. I stood prepared, turned away, my breath already shallow. He moved in close, his grip firm, leading us into a seamless rhythm that enveloped us effortlessly. His hands moved with confidence, his stride unwavering yet resolute. Claire reclined close by, her gaze fixed through half-lidded eyes, still regaining her breath. I offered her a warm smile. Suddenly, the dynamics changed. I inhaled sharply, clutching the couch for support. With each passing second, I found myself sinking further into it. He understood the path to take, expertly guiding me to the brink. As he positioned himself perfectly, my back curved, and a wave of energy coursed through me. It struck swiftly and sharply, reverberating within me. I leaned in, eyes closed, barely holding on as he maintained a steady rhythm. Yet, he continued at full speed. He was only beginning to scratch the surface. He faced Claire, tenderly lifting her once more and positioning her flat. In an instant, he was by her side, his movements charged with a heightened sense of urgency. I knelt beside them, gently wiping the sweat from her brow, planting soft kisses along his shoulder and chest. Claire's hand reached out, seeking mine. I grasped it firmly. She joined him once more, this time with increased urgency. Her body effortlessly responded, rising to greet him. She clutched the cushions tightly. Her breath changed. Her reaction intensified with every passing moment, escalating without pause. I observed her intently, filled with wonder. He pressed on, unwavering, intense, and seemingly unstoppable. His stamina didn't merely impress, it left everyone in awe. It seemed as though he could continue indefinitely, and a part of me was convinced he just might. Finally, he exhaled softly against her neck, having reached his breaking point. Claire remained motionless, her chest rising and falling with each breath. I nestled close to them, gently sweeping strands of hair from her forehead, my own body still humming with energy. Leaning in closer, I whispered with a playful grin, "Do you still believe it was a poor choice? Before you go, I have to ask, if two sisters appeared at your doorstep like that, how would you have reacted? Speak truthfully. Share your thoughts in the comments, I'm eager to hear from you. While you're here, be sure to like, subscribe, and activate notifications to stay updated on what's coming next. We appreciate your viewership.